Today we are going to start with the topic principle of hydrostatic skeleton. So as the name itself indicates, hydrostatic skeleton or hydroskeleton, hydro means water or fluid. So it's a flexible skeleton supported by fluid pressure. So that is the word itself, hydrostatic, it comprises of two words. Hydro means water or fluid and static means stability. So hydrostatic skeleton is a type of skeleton where the body gets support from a fluid-filled cavity. So it is common among simple invertebrate organisms. So as it is a well-known fact that during the course of evolution, as we know, the protozoans, they are unicellular or acellular organisms. That is, the body it is made up of single cell. Poriferans, they exhibit aggregation of a number of cells, that is multicellular body. And coelentrates, in coelentrates for the first time, we find tissue level of organization. Or we say that muscle tissues, they make their appearance for the first time in coelentrates. So the differentiation of muscular tissue was one of the consequences of the establishment of metazone organization. But it was insufficient in itself to bring about the effective movement of the body. So what does this statement means? That though muscular tissue, they appeared in coelentrates, but in itself, they were not sufficient. They were insufficient to perform locomotion, because for locomotion, something else is also required. And what is that? That is the skeleton. Because muscles at their own, they cannot work. They require skeleton for the support. The reason for this is that the contraction of muscle fiber is an active process, that it requires energy for muscle contraction. So it's an active process, whereas relaxation is not. That is, if the muscles they have contracted, that means body changes its shape. But if the form of body is to be maintained, because when body it has changed its shape, it has to regain its original shape. So if the form or shape of the body is to be maintained, the contracted fibers must be restored to their original length. And this can only be achieved by applying external force to them. I think you get this point. So in higher animals, this force is applied to jointed skeleton. So we can take example of higher animals. For example, in our case, if we have to move our forearm close to hind arm, so what will happen? So when we have to move or bring our forearm close to hind arm, the biceps muscles which are present over here, they contract. So biceps muscles, when they contract, forearm comes close to hind arm. But the shape of the body, it has to be regained, or the original length or body, or in this case, the arm, it has to be straightened. So in order to straighten our arm, now there are present triceps muscles. So it is required that no triceps muscles, they should contract. So it is only when triceps muscles, they contract, the biceps muscles, they will relax and the arm will straighten. So that is, the two sets of muscles, they work in antagonism. So when one set of muscle, it contracts, another set of muscle, it relaxes. So vice versa. And here, the force is applied through jointed skeleton in our case. But there are several groups of animals which do not have such a skeleton. For example, we have talked about protozoans, poriferans, or for that matter, we can start from coelentrates, though they have muscle tissues, but they don't have rigid skeleton. Platyhelminths means they don't have a rigid skeleton. Or we can keep in mind a typical example of earthworm, an annelid, which lacks a rigid skeleton, which could help muscles to work in antagonism. So in their case, so in all such cases where a rigid skeleton is lacking, there this fluid-filled cavity or fluid present in the body, it provides support to the muscles to work them in antagonism, to enable them to work in antagonism so that effective movement can be brought about. So this is what we understand by hydrostatic skeleton. So in jointed skeleton, the muscles are attached to movable part of skeleton in such a way that the contraction of one set of muscle brings about the relaxation of another. That is, two sets of muscles act antagonistically. So this type of skeleton made a comparatively late appearance in the evolution, and there are certain metazoan animals that do not possess that. So जहाँ पे ये rigid skeleton it is lacking, so there the hydrostatic skeleton it plays its role. So jointed skeleton it has a number of significance over hydrostatic skeleton. Number one is that it provides a lever system. So lever system means when we apply force, this force it revolves around or it is very much focused. So where it is focused on the joints. So joints के आगे पीछे muscles attached हैं. So that is, it enables economic use of energy in addition to provide support and protection to body. So how the fluid, it acts as hydrostatic skeleton. So this is because of the fact that water, it has two specific properties. So that are very important in this connection. So what are these two properties? Number one, water is incompressible and it has capacity. It is incompressible. It is not compressed when pressure is applied. And it has capacity for transmitting pressure changes equally. So जब इसके ऊपर pressure apply किया जाता है, so that pressure it is transmitted equally. So other important thing is lower viscosity of water. It allows the animal to deform readily and again regain the original shape. So because it is less viscous, so when pressure is applied, the fluid filled cavity, it can change its shape. It allows the animal to deform, iski shape change ho sakti hai, and again it can be regained. So in order to understand it, you can just imagine a water bottle, a rubber bottle, which is filled with water. So what happens agar aapke haath mein ek bottle hai, rubber bottle. So if you apply pressure on its posterior end, so what will happen? So that pressure, it is transmitted equally in all direction. So agar aap posterior end pe pressure apply karenge, the pressure will be transmitted to the anterior end, and the anterior side, the diameter of anterior side, it increases, right? And number two, the shape of that particular bottle, it will change because at the posterior end we have applied the pressure, so that area will narrow down, and at posterior end where the pressure it has been transmitted, that there the diameter will increase. And now if we apply pressure on anterior side, so agar hum anterior side se thoda us pe pressure apply karenge, what will happen? The pressure would be transmitted to the posterior side, and now the posterior side diameter will increase and or it will regain its shape, right? So if you imagine the body of earth form, same thing happens there. So what are the basic structure or principles of hydrostatic skeleton? So the functioning of such type of system depends upon musculature being so arranged that it surrounds an enclosed volume of fluid. So just imagine the body of earth form. So it is a tube-like structure where inside fluid is enclosed and outside there is present musculature. So what type of muscles we have? Two types of muscles they are present. One set of muscle. So hydrostatic skeleton consists of two parts. One is musculature, that is muscles, and another is volume of enclosed fluid. So the musculature, there are broadly two types of muscles. One type of muscles, they control the diameter, the changes in width. So they can be circular muscles, they can be radial muscles, they can be transverse muscles. So details how these muscles they function and bring about changes in diameter, that we will be discussing in forthcoming class. So one set of muscles, that is, which control the diameter, are radial muscle, transverse muscles, and circular muscles. And another set of muscles, they control the length. These are the longitudinal muscles. So these are grossly the arrangement of muscles. You can see the circular muscles, radial muscles, and transverse muscles. So they control the change in diameter. And these are longitudinal muscles which control change in length. So second important thing is volume of enclosed fluid. So in addition to musculature, So what is the function of this enclosed fluid? So this enclosed fluid, it acts as skeleton. So surrounding it are present circular muscles or the muscles which control the diameter. So just imagine, keep in mind the shape of the body of earthworm. So मेन उसमें क्या है, फ्लूइड फिल्ड बॉडी है, अंदर उसके फ्लूइड है, कोई सॉलिड स्केलेटन नहीं है. So which is surrounded by a set of muscles along the diameter, so which will be controlling the changes in diameter, and another set of muscles, they are arranged longitudinally, so which control change in length. So two properties are of importance, that is incompressibility and capacity for transmitting pressure changes equally in all directions. So which are the basic characteristics of fluid or water. So when pressure is applied means when the muscles they contract, the shape of the body changes. So this pressure it is transmitted in either direction. So body may lengthen, and by alternate contraction and relaxation of transverse muscles and longitudinal muscles, body lengthens and shortens, and animal is capable of transmitting or transforming this pressure into locomotion. So such details we shall be studying in next class. So for now, I think we can stop here.